Joey here is the Critical Missourian, where I talk about everyday life, about Missouri and beyond. One of the contentious issues that I wish to address is the thing about truck parking. Okay. For y'all non-CDL holders, you may ask, like, why is there trucks parked in a most oddball spot out in the street, or at the end of an industrial complex? Hello, Cass. Or on the on or off ramps of the highway. Well, my answer to that is the fact that the ratio of trucks to parking, available parking at any given time, is kind of a huge discrepancy. It could be, in a given area, you could have to deal with maybe 40 parking spots in one city, and maybe 20 at the minimum if you're lucky. And that's in the really small towns. You'll be lucky to find 20. The thing is, sometimes there'll be like double the amount of trucks looking for that same parking spot, leaving us CDL holders to have to find most creative ways to deal with our parking situation, because there is not enough parking out there. I really think that we need to start pushing each state legislators to make it a priority, because some states make it a really serious issue to be parking on the on or off ramps. Some will tow a truck away and give a huge fine, but that doesn't address the core. That doesn't address the core problem. I mean, it may make the townsfolk happy, but you're making life for us a little harder. The thing is that the parking infrastructure is just plain hasn't kept pace with the growth of the number of trucks over the years, and it's hitting a fever pitch. In Virginia, they've already had a big complaint about this, and I do give recognition to the fact that paid parking is becoming a nuisance as well. There's a problem with price gouging, where some places charge $20 to $50 on the high end, and maybe $5 to $25 on the low end. Um, and that's and it's usually getting to where a lot of places are becoming more mandatory paid parking, especially with I'm noticing with TA and Petro are the worst offenders. They're a lot of their locations are going 100% paid parking, and their rates are like sometimes $35 to per night to park in one spot. And to most non-CDL holders, y'all that don't hold one don't realize that some of us out here don't make a huge amount of dollars. Our companies don't pay for the parking that comes out of our own pockets, and the truth is some drivers would try to avoid it all possible. They'd rather do the creative parking rather than have to pay $35 to have to park. Like I said, because it all goes back out the fact that infrastructure has not kept up with the pace of the number of trucks, and that's not going to be. It's like I said, it's kind of being a little unfair, but I could see the other end of the coin, where these places have to clean up after the nasty ones out here. They're throwing trash everywhere. They have to make their money somehow to pay the crew to do so. I don't see, personally, I don't see a problem with paid parking as long as it doesn't make up a majority of the paid parking, of the parking lot. I mean, maybe at best 10% of the whole lot. If you got like 100 spaces, maybe 20 should be open for paid. 10 to 20, something like that. That's just my opinion there. Leave the rest to everybody else who just ain't got that kind of money to spend. And I mean, the only ones that might be able to afford that is maybe your owner operators, maybe your independents, and it's like I said, they're really price gouging us in some of these locations, and they know they could do it because there's no other option, especially in your major metropolitan areas. Some of you, it's like Ontario, California. Ontario, California is one example. There's no parking for miles on end. It's 100% paid parking. There's nothing. And Atlanta, you got that Petro that's down there, and your nearest paid parking is maybe 20 plus miles away. Free parking, I'm sorry. Your nearest free parking is like 20 plus miles away. So you have to go further out to get away from that. But usually in circumstances like that, those parking spots go pretty quick. Like I know, I'm certain, if memory serves, the Love's outside of Atlanta, not far from the north of it, I know that one pretty much fills up pretty quickly. So I've always had a trouble. I've always had to wait till early in the morning to find any parking spots there, and that's if I'm lucky. So, point of the matter is, we're forced into circumstances that we really find not very ideal, and it's us that end up having to pay for it. So, yeah, that's why a lot of your drivers will do a lot of creative parking to keep them have to pay for that. And I really think that we need to put, like I said, we need to put more emphasis with our state legislators to make this a higher priority, even if we have to make it a high priority within within Congress at the federal level, because it's not going to get any better. I'm telling you, it's not going to get any better. Nothing's going to change until the parking infrastructure catches up with the number of trucks out on the road, or heaven forbid there's some kind of catastrophe in our economy and a lot of more trucking companies go belly up and take off a number of trucks off the road. So that, I'm not going to say it will never happen, but the likelihood of that is a little low at this time. So that, I'm afraid, is our only option. So anyhow, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to y'all that don't hold a CDL. Before you start throwing a fit and wanting to go to your city council to make more regulations to keep trucks from parking in certain areas. Try to put the shoe on the other foot and understand that for us to find safe parking and comply with our hours of service rules, we sometimes have no choice but to find not less than ideal places to park at. So maybe try to, like I said, consider that. Think about what we have to deal with, and till something happens with a park where there's a much more increase in parking, decrease in the number of paid parking. Lord knows the East Coast is pretty bad with that, and some of the West Coast is just as bad in some locations. But anyhow, that's me. That's my conclusion for everything. I hope that does give you some food for thought, and I'll see you on the next video.